Hello and welcome to Downriver Rescue Connection. I'm your host, Patty Radikovich, and it's my pleasure to bring you information on animal-related topics in the animal rescue community. On today's episode, our guest is Courtney Protz-Sanders, and she is representing the Michigan Political Action Committee for Animals, otherwise known as Mi-PACA. So welcome to the show and thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having us. We're happy to be here.
Great. So Downriver, we've just started to hear more about Mi-PACA, but a lot of people still haven't heard about it, and obviously we have audience that's in other areas of the southeastern Michigan as well. So can you tell us what is Mi-PACA?
Absolutely. So MyPacka is a political action committee. That doesn't mean a whole lot to anybody anyway. What we do is we organize voters. We're the only statewide PAC in Michigan for animals. So there are PACs for every topic you can think of. Any special interest can have a political action committee, and it just means they're really interested in a specific topic. Ours is animals, and it's our pets, it's our wildlife, and it's our farm animals. So we're looking out for legislation that is in their best interest. The way we do it is we talk to voters, we find out the ones that animal issues are important to them, they sign up for their voting block, and we let them know which of their representatives support animal issues that are also important to them. So for example, if your state representative has a consistent voting record of voting against every animal issue that's come up, be it wildlife or pets, we're not going to endorse them. We're going to look for a candidate or an opponent who cares about the things that their constituents care about, and in this case, animals. So we let our voting block members know which of their representatives care about the issues they care about when it comes to animals and which ones of them don't. And we endorse them, and we hope that our voting block members go to the polls in November and vote for those folks that support the things that they do in the animal welfare world.
Great, and that's something that I think a lot of times if people are passionate about a cause, it's often very difficult to find out who's supporting this one because there's so many issues out there and candidates are talking about all different things, and so if you're interested in animals, you don't necessarily know unless you do your own research. So you're doing the research for people, which is great.
Exactly, and there's so much to government that a lot of people don't know about. You have your local government, so you have your mayor and your city council. Then you have your county government, so you have your county commissioners and your executive of the county. Then you have your state government with your state representatives and your state senators. And then we have our federal government with our U.S. senators and our U.S. representatives. It's a lot of people to keep track of on top of our busy lives. So we want to make it easy. We're going to look at the voting records for all of those folks, and we're going to let the people know, here's how they voted when it came to animal issues, and here's where they failed you. And we want to support the representatives that support the issues we care about, and we're going to look for new candidates for the positions where we can't seem to get any traction.
Okay, great. So how did this even come about? Like, when did Mi-PACA start, and how did it come to be?
Basically, a group of animal welfare advocates, people in mainly southeast mid-Michigan who have been trying to get local legislation passed, mostly at the county level, trying to improve public shelters. And a lot of the public shelters, their hands are tied. The policies they have to live by are dictated by the politicians that kind of control their budget. So when you're going to an animal shelter and saying, I really don't understand why your programs aren't all I think they could be, or why you're killing more animals than I think you should be, a lot of times they'll say, our hands are tied, you've got to go to the county commissioners, they set our rules. So we kept running into this. Okay, we'll go to the county commissioners, and we'd start talking to them as animal advocates, and here's what we're seeing that isn't working, and here's what we're asking you to do, and we just weren't getting anywhere. It was like our issues weren't important enough. And when you think about it, animals don't vote. So we decided to work together and as a group form a political action committee. We're all volunteers, and we don't focus on money. We focus on the power of the vote. That to us is far more important than anything else. So once we formed our PAC and we went back to those same counties and those same politicians and said, okay, now we're a political action committee and we're still asking you the same questions, suddenly they wanted to meet with us and they wanted to talk to us and they wanted to find out what we were concerned about. So appealing to what is important to them, which is their job, their position in politics, got their attention. And at that point, they learned. They don't know everything there is to know about animal welfare. Who could? So once they let us sit down and talk to them, it was like opening their eyes, and they're like, you know what, you're right. These are tax dollars that aren't being properly spent at our public shelter. Tell us how we can fix it. And so we started working together and passing ordinances and policies that let the shelters improve and let the shelters do more for animals. So that's how we started just last summer. July 2012, I think, is when we were officially born. So July 2013, I don't even know what year it is. They keep me so busy. And 2014 is a really big year for politics in Michigan. Most voters show up when it's presidential election year. You know, every 4 years, time to elect a new president, that's when they go to the polls. This year isn't a presidential election year, but it's a big one for Michigan. Almost all of our House seats are up for re-election, our House Senate, our governor, our Secretary of State, our Attorney General, so it's going to be a big year. So if a lot of the public stays home, because it's not a presidential election year, and we get our voting blocks to come out because animal issues are important to them, we can change elections. And we've seen it work in the past, and we're really excited about what's going to happen this year.
Okay, great. So let's talk about some of the specific legislature and ordinances that you guys look at. So one of the things I know is breed discrimination.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about breed discrimination and
Sure.
what you guys are trying to do to impact that?
Breed discrimination, and most people know it as BSL, which stands for breed-specific legislation, but we call it what it is. It's discriminating against a type of animal based on how it looks, and we don't think that's fair. Animal experts across the country and the world say you really have to evaluate an animal on an individual basis. They're all different, regardless of what they look like or what we think their breed mix is. So a lot of communities have decided to ban a breed of dog, be it pit bulls. In the past, it was other breeds. And more states are saying this isn't fair. In fact, 19 states in the country have banned the ability to discriminate against a breed. Utah was the most recent, and so statewide, no community can ban a family from owning a specific breed of animal. That's huge, and we want Michigan to be number 20. There's no reason why we shouldn't be. So right now, in our communities, it's kind of pocketed and scattered throughout the state, there are breed bans. We want those to stop. We want to overturn the ones that currently discriminate against breeds, and we want to get a state law passed that says Michigan is a non-discriminatory state. You can own whatever dog works for you. And we encourage responsible pet ownership. I don't care what kind of dog you have. I expect every pet owner to be a responsible pet owner. And if your dog has behavior problems, it's your job to fix those behavior problems. And I don't care what breed it is. I think everybody should be treated the same. So breed discrimination is a big one. We're going to go after it at the state level because we think that'll have the biggest impact.
Okay, great. Now, one that the viewers in the Downriver area are familiar with is the anti-tethering ordinances, because Chained is a group that we had on our show previously, and that's part of what they do is they go to the city councils and try to pass this anti-tethering ordinance. So can you talk a little bit more about that and what you guys are specifically doing for that?
Yeah, and we fully support Chained. They reached out to us when they were working with some of the Downriver communities to pass the anti-tethering law, and basically what that is it's saying that you can't chain your dog up 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long. It's not saying you can't put your dog out on a tie-out for a little bit of break and exercise. They're saying they can't live like that. Mm-hmm. It's not a good life. So when Chained contacted us and said, we're working with these communities and we're having successes in some areas and other areas we're having some problems, could you help us? Absolutely, this is exactly what we want to do. So we go down and we explain to either those city council members or if it's at a county level, county commissioners, that who we are and that we will endorse candidates who support animal-friendly legislation. And anti-tethering is a big one for us. We don't think any animal should live in a chain, just like they shouldn't live in a cage 24/7 for the rest of their lives. So yeah, we fully support that kind of legislation. We think those are progressive ordinances that improve communities, and Chains, they're doing great. We're behind them all the way.
Yeah, great. So another big issue that I know is a hot topic is, well, we typically call them feral cats, but you talk about them as community cats. Yeah. So if you can talk first about why you call them community cats instead of feral cats, and then what are you doing as far as legislation? And
Sure. So feral cats, they've been around for 10,000 years, and those are the cats that want nothing to do with us. So they're just unsocialized. They're not aggressive or mean, or there's something wrong with them. They're just not socialized to be around people. They live perfectly long, healthy lives out in their colonies and doing what they do. Cats reproduce quickly. That's what we want to cut back on. So TNR programs, which is the trap, neuter, return, works to keep those populations down by neutering, giving a rabies vaccine, and ear-tipping the cat, and returning it to its colony. And those colonies can thrive with a caretaker, shelter, and food. The reason we don't just call them feral cats anymore is because we've learned that they're not just feral cats, that a lot of the cats that come into these colonies are just indoor, outdoor cats. They have an owner, but they find it fun to hang out with the group down the street and, and eat a little of their food and then go home and get dinner. Or just people have left and they've moved and they've left their cat behind, and that cat joins the colony. They're not feral, they're socialized. They were somebody's pet at one time, but now they're living with this colony of cats. So calling them all feral cats is just misleading. So we call them community cats because they live in the community and they actually serve a purpose. And if they're cared for, they pose no threat. They tend to be healthy, and through attrition, the colony gets smaller. So we support community cats because they're here. They're not leaving. They've been around us for 10,000 years, and you can't eradicate them. Some communities think, well, we'll just catch them and kill them and catch them and kill them. That will never work, and we know that just through facts and research and history. So we support TNR. Best way to handle this issue in communities is trap them, neuter them, give them the vaccine they need, and return them. And as long as they have a colony caretaker, they're going to be just fine. There are classes out there for learning how to do TNR. So if you're a person who has these cats and they're all over your workplace or in your neighborhood and you just don't know what to do, get online. There are all kinds of resources. There's a class you can take for $10, and you can take all those cats in and get them neutered for $25 each. The rabies vaccine is free. And now you have a controlled colony. They're not going to keep reproducing, and through time and attrition, they'll get smaller.
Okay, so I know with that, some of the specific ordinances in some cities, it's that there's actually an ordinance against feeding these cats or against trapping them and releasing them. And so are those the types of ordinances that you guys are going after to help the cats?
Yeah, we think every community and every shelter should have a TNR program. You have to have a solution for when people bring you these cats. They're not adoptable, but they're also healthy. There's no reason to end their life. So a TNR program solves that. We want communities to allow TNR for that very reason. We ran into an issue earlier this year in Macomb County where some cities were saying, well, we want TNR, and other cities were saying, well, we don't. So we tried to help them figure that out. TNR is a big issue. It's springtime. This is when cats really get the move on. And so, in fact, it's got a name. We call it kitten season. And we'll start getting the calls that, you know, I have litter kittens under my porch, or there's this pregnant cat living in my garage. What do I do? So TNR is really important, and we fully support TNR laws and ordinances that just allow the community to take care of its own.
Okay, great. Well, what are some other things that you help out with as far as the legislation?
Another local push that we have is called Humane Acquisition. And so if people have ever heard of puppy mills, these are the big commercial warehouses where they're just breeding and breeding dogs and shipping puppies off to pet stores where they're sold for usually thousands of dollars and usually very sick just because of the conditions they were born and raised in and the way that they were transported. So we encourage humane acquisition, which is simply go to your shelter and adopt an already homeless pet, or work with a rescue and adopt an already homeless pet, rather than going to a pet store and continuing the cycle of the puppy mills. So we work with a group called Puppy Mill Awareness of Southeast Michigan, and they have a pet store campaign where they ask pet stores to take a pledge that they won't sell puppy mill or breeder dogs, and they'll work with rescues and shelters. And the pet stores where they just can't get them to sign the pledge and they're just going to continue to sell the puppy mill dogs, they set up protests. And they talk to customers and people who stop and see them and explain the horrors of puppy mills and what that really is and where these dogs are coming from. So some communities, especially the ones that don't have pet stores yet, so it's kind of a clean community, we want to pass an ordinance called Humane Acquisition, which encourages people to adopt from rescues and shelters and prohibits those pet stores from moving into town and setting up shop. We encourage pet stores already existing to work with rescues and shelters and start another way to make money. A grooming business, sell pet supplies, offer behavior training or doggy daycare or sitting services. Find another way to make money and then support the rescue and shelter world. So it's a very new concept. We're really excited about it. Novi is one of the areas just because they have two of the biggest pet stores that work with breeders and puppy mills. But we're going to the communities and we're just talking to them about it. It's such a new concept that right now it's really just educating people about the difference between, you know, different ways you can acquire a pet and which way is probably the safer, healthier way to go for your family and your pet versus supporting the puppy mill trade. Okay. So Humane Acquisition's a new one.
Great.
Yeah.
It's all wonderful, everything that you guys do, and it's like I said, you guys do the research for people, you're helping educate the community, and everything you do, I mean, it's really great. So we, you know, people in the animal welfare community really appreciate that you guys are out there assisting us, because we can't do it all by ourselves. We're focused on the rescue part of it.
Right, and there's so much to it.
Right.
There really is. So we encourage people, get engaged. Just what is your local community doing? And really our city council, those ordinances they set up, you know, they're the ones fixing our potholes right now and making sure our street lights are on. It's really easy to forget that they're there and that what they do affects us the most on our day-to-day life. So we encourage people, go down to your city council meetings. They usually meet once a month in the evenings or sometimes twice a month. Some of them are on TV where you can watch them, or you can watch a replay online. Just get engaged. Find out what your community is doing. And if you hear anything related to animal welfare issues, if it's a pet store moving into town, or it's setting up a discrimination ordinance, or not allowing TNR, anything that involves wildlife, farm animals, or companion animals, let us know. It's how we're able to get in front of an ordinance before it's passed, or get in and support an ordinance that's going to help pets or wildlife. So we encourage people to be our eyes and ears. We can't be in every single city council meeting and across the entire state. So we encourage volunteers, people to get involved, become a volunteer, or just be a watchdog for us. Let us know when you hear that something is about to happen in your community. Get on our website, shoot us an email, and just let us know, and that will let us get involved and get in front of it.
Great. Now, if somebody did want to get involved with your organization and volunteer, what are some ways that they can do that?
Yeah, we tend to meet at the end of every month. So usually the last Saturday of the month we'll have a meeting. It's open to everyone who wants to just either learn more or get involved. So we have volunteer opportunities, everything from just data entry, putting in the PAC members' information. We need marketing and advertising help, all the way to being a city coordinator or a county captain, where you've got your finger on that community. So, for example, we just had somebody come in for Madison Heights, and so now she attends every Madison Heights City Council meeting, and she lets us know if there's any animal issues that are brought up, so that we can get in there and start talking to folks and see what's the plan, what are we doing here. And if it just keeps going and it's an anti-animal issue, we'll inform our voting block members. We need you guys to start informing, contacting your city council, let them know this is not what we want in our community. Go to those meetings, speak during public comment, and let your voice be heard. They work for us, and I think people forget that our representatives, they're representing us. So their own personal ideals really don't matter so much. They have to represent our ideals. So sometimes you just have to remind them of that.
Okay, great. So now, as far as you have your main organization, the MyPacka, are there branches of, are you trying to, because I know with Downriver, there was a couple of meetings downriver, is that just, are you coming out here downriver and forming, just coming to visit and helping them, or are people forming kind of like chapters of MyPacka? How does that work?
It is kind of like chapters. So basically, the MyPacka board, we're statewide, and we're keeping all the balls in the air. And then we have our county captains. So Wayne County has a captain, and Oakland County has a captain. And then within the county, we have all our little cities. So Downriver being a really good example, we have somebody who's keeping an eye on Taylor. We have somebody who's keeping an eye on Trenton. And they're working with their city council, and they're letting us know when they need our help. So really, it's energizing the community to take hold of it, and we're here for you. And if you need anything, bring us in, and we'll mentor you, and we'll give you key messages, and we'll explain how the whole political part works. So yeah, when the Downriver folks invited us down, a lot of it was the anti-chaining, some stuff was going on at the Taylor Animal Shelter, a few issues all at once, so we held a meeting, and a lot of folks came. It was one of the best turnouts, and we explained what the PAC was, how to get involved. On the shelter side, they wanted to see their save rate go up, fewer animals killed, so we talked about there are 11 programs, and if every shelter or any shelter that incorporates those 11 programs, your save rate goes up. There's no way around it. So we talked about getting those programs into the Taylor shelter, hiring a compassionate director because they make the rest of the programs happen. So they invited us down, we empower them and kind of just mentor them, and after that they've got their own chapter. And so we've got a captain for that chapter, and she keeps things moving and is kind of like a liaison of information between the statewide folks and the people who are really just focused on that community. So that structure seems to be working really well. And again, everybody's a volunteer, and most of us have full-time jobs, but we're really passionate about it, and we see these big picture changes as affecting thousands of animals and all of the future animals that are going to come through that community. So whereas spay and neuter is critical and rescues are critical and education is critical, big picture changes at the legislative level and with our representatives, I think, is another big component of it. And so it's exciting to see when a community gets energized and takes hold of it, and we're really happy with what's happening downriver. Things are changing for the better.
Great, and that's great. And so if people want to get involved, they can go to your website, and they can they can reach out to you guys, and if they want to be involved at the local level, you'll obviously let them know where they can go if there's a chapter that's already formed, or if people want to be involved at the the more statewide level, they can do that as well. So that just go to your website and find out.
Yep.
So.
If you go to our website, you'll find a way to, first of all, join your voting block. That's really important because now when something's happening in your area, you're going to know about it. We're going to tell you. So join your voting block, and then, look at the volunteer opportunities, upcoming meetings. If you just want to know information, give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to talk to folks and explain how we work, and if they need our help, we're there.
Okay, and you said you also have an annual conference, you had told me earlier?
We do. There's an annual conference that's put on by the Michigan Pet Fund Alliance, and this year will be the 4th annual conference. So in September 4th and 5th, 2014, at Somerset Inn in Troy, there will be the No-Kill Conference, and MyPacka will be there. We have a session. We're going to talk about what we do and get folks signed up for voting blocks. They've got some national speakers coming in. Nathan Winograd is going to premiere his documentary for the first time in Michigan at the conference. It's called Redemption. Other national speakers talking about some of these community cat programs. It's going to be really great for anybody who's involved in shelters, rescues, animal advocates. There's something for everybody. So we encourage folks, check it out online, and if you can come to the conference, come learn. The more we know, the more we can do.
Great. So now you did bring some cats for to show the viewers. These cats are up for adoption, and it's through a rescue that you work with called Paws for Life Rescue.
Yeah.
So before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we get these little cuties out here so that people can see them.
Sure. This is Mariah. Oh, she's only 10 months old.
Okay.
She came to us through the Hazel Park Animal Control. She had been scratching at someone's apartment door thinking that's where she lived, and the people kept saying, no, you don't live here. So they took her to the shelter hoping her owners would find her. And unfortunately they didn't, but they called Paws for Life and we went and got her. She is a spayed female. She loves other cats. She's good with kids. She loves to play. She's a very quiet kitty, real sweet and friendly. But this is Mariah. She's looking for a home, and if you're interested in adopting her, you can go to the website. Her adoption fee is $60, and that includes all of her vaccines, her spay, let's see, what else, testing, and deworming.
Okay.
So Mariah's ready to go. She's looking for a great home, and she's a really good kitty.
This one has been wanting to come out the whole show.
This is Helen, and she had a long car ride, so she's been very ready to go, go, go. Helen's very unique. She's a kind of, she's a different breed of cat. We don't know exactly what she is, but her nose kind of juts out. As you can tell, she wants to run, run, run. We got Helen. She was found outside when she was just 5 weeks old, and she has allergies. So we have her marked as a special needs kitty. You want to go, go, go. Just because she needs a special food, just a grain-free food, and sometimes she takes Benadryl spring and fall when the stuff is, blooming and dying. That seems to affect her allergies. But otherwise, she's a really healthy cat. She's about 1.5 years old right now, spayed female. She's good with other cats, she's good with kids, and she's even been around dogs.
Okay. All right, so she's going to go explore things.
And you can see how her long legs, I would love to know what breed of cat she is, but she's really friendly, she's really unique.
Okay, so she's one of the, it looks like she's one of the mixed exotic breeds. So.
She's a little different. Her adoption fee is also $60. That includes her spay and all of her vaccines.
Okay, great. And these cats are available with Paws for Life Rescue. And where are they located?
They're based out of Troy, but it's all foster care homes. So the way they work is if you go on the website, apply online, they'll call you, talk to you, and if it sounds like a good fit, they'll bring the animal to your home and do the adoption there. They do a 2-week adjustment period where they just want you to give the animal 2 weeks, whether it's a dog or a cat, to just settle in before you make that decision that, this is my animal till the end of time for the rest of its life. We just want to make sure animal's happy, the folks are happy, so they'll bring them to you. So you don't have to worry so much about where the cat's at. Just get online and apply, and they'll match you with the animal that sounds like they'll be the best fit.
Okay, great. And they have dogs and cats available.
Dogs and cats, all breed rescue. So we pull from shelters. We never know what we're going to have, but go online, and they have all the dogs and cats listed there.
Okay, great. Well, we have just a few minutes left, so are there any final messages that you would like to get across to the viewers?
I guess the biggest is don't be afraid to get involved in politics. These folks are just like us. They put their pants on one leg at a time, and they want to hear from you. They actually get really excited when their constituents get involved. they know they represent us, and sometimes they want to know what is important to us other than potholes. What else do we need from them? So don't be afraid to talk to them, to pick up a phone, ask them to go for coffee, stop by their office. You're their employer. So just, I guess, don't be afraid to talk to them, regardless of your issue. We care about the animal stuff, but and then contact us. If you feel like you're running into a problem, whether it's your public shelter, it's an ordinance that's being proposed in your community, get a hold of us. We want to help you the best that we can. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really exciting to talk about all of these things today.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, and thank you for coming in. There's a lot of education, so hopefully people will get a lot of good information about that.
Wonderful.
So thanks again, Courtney, for coming out here.
Absolutely.
And introducing MyPacka. Well, we all look forward to a day when all pets are treated like family and everyone has a home. Until that time, we invite you to be part of the solution. And remember, please spay and neuter your pets. See you next time.